Welcome to Crazy Stupid Midlife. I'm Renee.
And I'm Dannielle.
And we're here to navigate midlife together and share our stories.
Introducing Crazy Stupid Midlife. We created this podcast so there was a place for you to hear our stories and learn some tips on how to get through midlife.
It's a wild mix of challenges, changes, and laughs, and we're here to share those challenges, changes, and laughs with all of you. We would like to introduce ourselves. I'm Renee, and I'm going to share a little bit about my backstory first. I am currently a high school English teacher, but I did not start out that way. I graduated with a degree in public relations and worked in PR for a few years. I started out at a big PR agency downtown, and then I moved in-house to the marketing and communications department at San Diego State University. I met my husband and I started helping him with his dental practice, getting that going, and did all the marketing for that. Then we started our family, which we decided as a couple that I was going to be a stay-at-home mom. We kept having children and ended up with 4. Once my youngest was about 3, I decided to go into teaching because I wanted a more flexible career where I could be home with my children. So I've been teaching now for about 10 years, and I really love it. I love high school, and I love teaching English. And now we'll hear a little bit about Dannielle before we talk about how we met.
I'm Dannielle. We are both living in San Diego. I just thought we'd share that because I think it's important to have an idea of where we're coming from. So I've lived in San Diego for 15 years. That's actually when I met Renee 15 years ago. I have been a stay-at-home mom. I actually decided to go back to school and pursue a nursing degree when I was 40. I have 3 children, married 24 years. I think my kids were very young when I decided to go back. And I just woke up one day and decided I wanted to be a nurse and looked at my husband and said, I'm going to nursing school. He must have thought I was crazy. Probably thought I wasn't really going to do it, but I did. And not only did I go to nursing school, but I got another bachelor's in nursing, and then I got my master's in nursing, and I became a nurse practitioner. So that is what I am now, and I specialize in aesthetics. That is something that I'm very passionate about. But I also have learned so much about women's health and functional medicine, hormone replacement therapy, menopause medicine, and just how to treat our bodies and how to have wellness throughout our lives, especially in midlife. So that's my story.
And actually what's funny is I just remembered, and maybe you don't remember this, but both Dannielle and I decided to switch gears at the exact same time. In fact, we were having lunch at the California Pizza Kitchen. We were sitting outside, and I remember telling you that I wanted to go into teaching, and I remember saying something like, I'm not sure if I can do it. And you made this face like, of course you can do it. And that was when you had decided that you were going into nursing. And that's when I decided I was going into teaching. And it was not an easy journey, especially for you. You had such a long track, but like we both had multiple kids. I have 4, Dannielle has 3, and we were in school full time. And I think back, and that is wild.
It is wild
that we were able to accomplish what we did, because I also got my master's in education, and it was a big deal for my family when I went back to work. They were trying to be quote unquote supportive, but I was floundering like a fish out of water my first year teaching. It was a lot different for my family.
And it's also different because I feel like we added something on, but nothing was taken off of our plate.
Yeah.
So as far as the husband's job, I feel like they just have to keep on going with what they're doing. Mm-hmm. But for us, we were already floundering as, stay-at-home moms, and then you decide to go into school, and it's crazy. It's almost impossible. And a lot of people that seen my journey, they say, I can't believe you did that. That's amazing. And honestly, there's some imposter syndromes, because sometimes I think I can't believe I did it either.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And I can't believe I'm here. And you are one of my biggest fans and supporters, besides my mom, but you were always there for me. And I remember you just found a card that you had written to me, but you never gave it to me.
And I texted you a picture of it.
Yeah, it was so sweet and so encouraging. And that's what I love about our friendship is we have been through so many things together. which you will find during this podcast series, our relationship and how it's grown and how supportive we are, and just honest and raw. And I think it's going to be a great journey, so we can share all of our experiences with everybody else.
Yes, definitely. It's definitely going to be authentic. Authentic to who we are as friends, and also to midlife and what it really is, because it's not all bumpy. I mean, right now it kind of feels a little bumpy, but
Most days.
yeah, I also think it's an amazing time to reinvent and to go on different routes that you may not have been able to pursue before. And we're going to talk more about that. I don't want to get too much into that. But now that we've introduced ourselves, I would like to switch gears and talk about what midlife means to us. The highs, the lows, perimenopause, career shifts, parenting older children, self-discovery. So also acknowledging some myths versus reality in this stage of life for both of us. So Dannielle, do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
So I'll talk about my highs and lows.
Okay.
I think when you're young, you just don't ever think you're going to get there. You just don't think you're going to grow old. You think you're going to be this cool, young, hip, into everything. Your kids are going to love you and think you're so awesome. Yeah, it doesn't go that way. And you blink and you're literally old.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard. It was hard for me to digest that I was actually in midlife, that I'm in midlife, and that any of these symptoms that I was having was part of midlife, because I really didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be in midlife. I honestly never saw myself in midlife. So when I got there, it was very difficult. I suffered from headaches for so long, and I think that is one of the aha moments when I decided to go on hormone replacement therapy. Is I had no headaches, and I had been to neurologists. I'd had CTs, MRIs, getting Botox injections for migraines for like 7 years. Wow. On medications every single day, and not one person, not one, not my OB, not my primary care, not my neurologist, not one person said, this could be from perimenopause. I had no idea. Even though I was going through nursing school, and even though I had all of this education, it just never dawned on me. So that, and then the rage, those are my symptoms that just is unbearable for me. But I have to say, with midlife also gave me that motivation to be better, do better, and just always moving forward and having a new goal. So the crazy is crazy good sometimes, not always crazy bad.
I agree.
So, yeah.
I definitely think the crazy can be crazy good. Although my family might say otherwise. So highs and lows
For sure.
me. I share the same. I had so many symptoms, and never once, even to this day, have I had a health professional say, it could be perimenopause. I mean, I'm 49 years old. If it's not perimenopause, then we have a problem.
Right.
It's definitely something serious, So I started off with frozen shoulder probably 7 years ago. I was traveling with my kids, and my shoulder lost all mobility. I was wearing a sports bra, I remember, for like 3 days. And my husband wasn't with us on that trip. And my oldest daughter, had to cut the sports bra off of me because I couldn't get it off. And I wanted to finally take a shower. I couldn't lift my arm over my head or behind my back. I couldn't sleep. It was horrible pain. I went to the ER in Monterey, and they thought I was there for pain pills. And they didn't want to give me anything. And I said, I don't want pain pills. I want you to fix my shoulder. I said, I think I broke it. And they took an x-ray. I didn't break it. They gave me a TENS unit because they wouldn't give me, this is how crazy it was. I guess it was at a time where they were really cracking down on
opiates.
Yeah. So they gave me a TENS unit, which is, well, you can describe it probably better than I can.
Yeah, it just kind of stimulates the nerve function to get that and the muscles to waken them up.
Yeah, it actually worked really well, but I had it on for like 3 days straight. So I had leads all over my shoulder. I finally was able to go on like an ibuprofen week-long treatment to loosen up the inflammation, and then physical therapy. But that, I think, was the beginning of my perimenopause, because from there I developed tennis elbows in both elbows, and I don't play tennis or pickleball or any of those types of sports, but I had a lot of pain in my elbow joint. It started off on my right elbow, and then it went to my left. And interestingly, I started PT for my right elbow, and it was starting to feel a little bit better, but my left elbow got really bad. And I had to get it injected finally by my internal medicine doctor, and she never once mentioned that it could be perimenopause. And I also have wrist pain still to this day. I have to be very careful about doing push-ups or planks or downward dog because it aggravates my wrists. And also I have TMJ, where my jaw will lock if I eat granola, nuts, anything like that. So that for me is my physical ailment that probably bothers me the most. And then for the emotional, it's 100% the rage and irritability. I get irritated by things that never used to bother me, and I get irritated to a point where I will explode, and I call it pop off. I pop off so much that I'm constantly apologizing for popping off. I actually will say, sorry, I popped off earlier, because it's like there's a pressure cooker in my brain, and it just goes boom, and then I pop off. I usually say a lot of bad words, and then I have to apologize to my family after, because I usually say things I don't mean, but I just get so angry and I have no self-control. It's like I'm a impulsive ADHD ball.
It's almost like an outer body experience. Like I'm above myself watching me lose it.
100%.
And I can see it in my family's face. And they're just like, what the fuck is wrong with her? And I'm thinking, as I'm yelling, what the fuck is wrong with me?
Yeah.
Just stop. And I can't.
I even sometimes will have like two voices, like, you need to calm down, you're overdoing it. And then I'll get mad at that voice and I'll be like, shut the heck up. Also, sidebar, I usually do swear more, but I am fasting from swearing for Lent. So for the next 6 weeks, I'm going to be saying things like, Dad, burn it, which is an Arkansas thing my dad says, and also poop, and also gosh darn it. And all those
I'll
things.
be swearing enough for the both of us.
Yeah.
Because I'm good at that. So yes, you can see that our midlife journeys are, I would say they've been going on for years. Mm-hmm. It's been a good 7 years.
Yeah. For me, like I would say about 7-8 years, but it's really peaking in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And starting to become a thing where, if you look at my shelves now, listeners can't see this, but I have The New Menopause, Forever Strong by Gabrielle Lyon, Good Energy by Casey Means. I just got the new one by Naomi Watts, dare I say it. I'm very interested in learning more about it. I'm listening to podcasts, and it's become the focus, and that's why we kind of decided together that it would be really fun and also therapeutic for us to have this outlet and to reach out to other women. And also, I was just in Athleta yesterday. I popped in there, and there was this woman shopping next to me who was about my age, and she made some sort of comment about something on the sale rack and how she couldn't see the numbers on the tag. And I laughed and I said, oh yeah, me either. I don't have my glasses. I can't see anything. I just know it's on sale and it's another 25% off. So I'm hoping for the best when I get to the register. And we both laughed together, and I could tell that she enjoyed that moment of connection. And I was like, I wish I had a business card for the podcast, because I could tell that she wanted to connect with somebody else who was in the same stage of life. And I think that is so crucial, is for women to feel like they're not alone. And even though they might not live in San Diego, they can turn on our podcast and be like, oh, I can't wait for the next episode of Crazy Stupid Midlife. Yeah. What crazy stupid things happened last week.
Yeah. And we want you to share your what the fuck moments too. So email us and tell us how you're handling midlife. Give us your tips. We want to know what's working for you. We also will give tips along the way. I also have a lot of expertise in women's health and hormone replacement therapy and exercise and just supplements, things to do to help you feel better, because you don't need to go through this and feel out of control. There are things that we can do to help each other along the way.
Yes, definitely. And there are strategies and coping strategies too. I was talking to my therapist about this a few weeks ago, because and I think Danielle knows this too. I started taking these fun dance classes.
Yes.
And they're actually called twerking dance classes, which is really funny. My oldest daughter, wanted me to go with her before she went to study abroad. And of course I was trying to bond with her in any way possible before she left. So I said, yeah, let's do it. I'll go. And so I went, and it's called Madhouse Dance. And that is one of a future guest that we definitely want to get on Crazy Stupid Midlife. And I went, and it was so much fun. It was also really hard, and I was really sore in areas I didn't think I would be, like my quadriceps, my core, and my glutes, because twerking is actually really good exercise, but it also released such positive things I can't even say. And apparently when we were stretching after, the lead who owns the studio, she was doing the class, she said something about how there's a lot of tension and stress that's held in hips,
Yeah.
especially women.
Yes.
And so when you release them in dance, it doesn't have to be twerking, but twerking is obviously releasing the hips a lot. It does release some energy in a very positive way, so that you're just like, this feels so good. And I became obsessed. And so my daughter's in Denmark, and I'm taking these twerk dance classes 2-3 times a week, to the point where my husband was like, you're gone a whole heck of a lot. And when I was telling my therapist this, she said, well, you need to tell your family that you need some coping strategies. And if it's going to a twerk dance class, who cares?
Yeah.
And I loved that she said that. And I did exactly that. I went home and I told that to my husband. And now when I'm going to dance class, he says, have a great time, honey.
Yeah. See, that's nice and supportive.
Yes.
But also, it's hard to break up with the family a little bit too.
Yeah, that's
that
true.
That brings us to another point. Like, we are so used to doing everything,
Yes.
and we're used to everyone depending on us, and they do depend on us. And we've made this little bubble. So tearing apart, giving some space from that is hard, and giving everyone else the chance to show up for you,
Right.
I think is important.
It's hard for us, and it's hard for them.
It's both, yeah,
Because,
goes both ways.
yeah, I was getting a lot of guilt trips when I was going to 3 times a week.
Yeah.
But it was helping me. It was making me feel better. And it was such a positive outlet. And that's the thing. We need positive outlets, and we need ways to take care of ourselves. And I know we touched on this the other day when we were chit-chatting, and it's another episode entirely, but we talked about how what we do right now for ourselves is going to help our future, spouses, partners, significant others, children, when it comes time to take care of us in our older age.
Yep.
Because it's either going to be really hard on them if we're frail and super dependent and unable to walk by ourselves. But if we take care of ourselves now and strengthen our bones and our muscles and our joints and all
Our
the
brain,
things, our minds,
cognitive health, yeah.
then yes, exactly, cognitive decline, it's going to be better for them. So I'm feeling less guilty when I think along those lines, because I don't want to be a burden. And I know no matter what, we are going to age. That's part of life, but we can age better, and we can age gracefully.
I agree. And also, I'm a little bit more selfish, but I just am done. I'm done caring for everyone every single day. They're all capable, and it's my time. I get one life too, and I want to do everything that I've ever wanted to do in this life, and I don't want to wait anymore. And all of my children are 20, 19, and 11, and they're very capable of taking care of themselves. And so is my husband. So it's my time to take care of myself, and I try not to feel guilty about it anymore. And I think my anger comes sometimes because it's almost like I want to be in my 20s again with all of this knowledge. Because then I
Wouldn't that
have
be amazing?
the space, right? I wouldn't have to be caring for people.
Right.
Even though I'm so happy I cared for my family and had a family.
Of course.
That's not what I'm saying. But it's time for me to just be everything that I could possibly be. And I say to myself, watch out, world, because I don't think I've even touched the surface yet. I really don't. And I think being in midlife, that's what the good crazy is.
Right.
It's like it's such a drive to do more,
Yeah.
learn more, and just be better.
It is. It's such a motivator, because we do realize that, I'm a huge advocate of that whole YOLO
Yeah.
message. And I have a friend who I tell it to all the time, and that friend knows who she is. And I will put it in all caps, and I will say YOLO, 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 because it is so true. You only live once, and this life is yours to live. And we are in the driver's seat. We are the pilot. Like, we make the decision what direction we want to go, and we can either stay in the same position, or we can say, you know what? No, I'm going to do this new thing I want to try, or I'm going to take the twerk dance class because why not? Or I'm going to, start a new educational journey or whatever. It's now is our time, and now we have the time.
Yeah.
Which before, at least both of us, we have 7 kids between the two of us, we didn't really have a lot of time. We did have a lot of people dependent on us. But you're right. My son is 22. My daughter's 20. My other son is almost 19. And then I have a 15-year-old. They are very capable, and I want them to be capable. I don't want them dependent on me forever. I want them to fly,
Yeah.
Fly, fly, fly.
Which is another episode of when your kids get in midlife, they go away to college and they leave the nest. And I think that's a whole episode we need to talk about later on. But even if you don't have a family and you don't have a spouse, or you're not, you don't have a partner, you're still going to go through midlife if you're a woman. So no matter what, this is a platform for you as well. Every single woman, there's things here for you to hear and to hopefully take some pearls away and implement into your life, so that you just are doing it a little bit more gracefully. And you're not alone. You know what it is actually happening. This isn't just you're randomly turned crazy.
Yes. Or rage.
Randomly turned crazy in rage.
And enraged. And stupid, right? Because often I can't even think of the word. Which, being an English teacher, I get teased about that all the time. Because I'm supposed to apparently know every word in the universe because I am an English teacher. And I don't. But anyways.
Which brings us to our next episode.
Yes.
Which is Welcome to Crazy. And then you'll see they'll Welcome to Stupid.
And then
Welcome to Midlife.
Yeah.
So we'll give you kind of a background on what we mean by each, where the name came from. But for the rest of the
for what's coming up,
we hope to have funny stories, expert guests, talk about our issues that are currently going on, any topics that you want to know about or hear about. You can always send in requests. Our expert guests that we would love to see on and give us their advice would be physicians who specialize in menopause medicine would be
functional
great.
health.
Functional health doctors. Homeopathic. Fitness experts, diet experts, life coaching, therapists.
Yes.
Because a lot of people, I think, in our age group go to therapy or psychiatrists looking for or prescribed medications for anti-anxiety or
for the irritability. Because I was prescribed
and
Wellbutrin.
Again,
for the
not
irritability.
once are they saying this is from midlife. They're putting you on a medication. And I have a friend who actually had panic attacks. And never once did anyone talk about it was from her hormones going out of whack.
Yeah, which is crazy.
So we just want to give you all the information you can and just have some fun along the way.
Also, I wanted to mention in terms of the guests, I had mentioned the head of Madhouse Dance because I think she's amazing. She started her own company I want to say right before COVID, and now she has 2 locations. She has a lot of women who are my age, which I think is really cool. So I think she would just be so fun to have on the show. She's got great energy, and she's very, very supportive of women in general, expressing themselves and being open and feeling empowered and being themselves. And it's a very, very safe space. So that's one. And then also an acupuncturist who I came across who is in midlife herself, and she helps a lot of women. And I'm a huge advocate of acupuncture as well. That helped me tremendously after I had my kids when I was having, I just blanked on the word, that the depression you have after.
Oh, I was going to say PTSD, but
I literally, not
postpartum
there we
depression.
Go.
There we go.
That's amazing.
2 minds are better than one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Welcome to Stupid. Anyway,
welcome to Stupid.
So we don't have it all figured out, but we are all in this together. We're super excited to finally be doing this. This has been a dream of ours for a while, and like we have been talking about this whole episode, YOLO, right? We have one life, and we want to do this, and I'm so excited that we are doing this, and we look forward to our next episode, which, as Dannielle said, is going to be Welcome to Crazy. We're going to talk all about crazy. I'm excited for that episode because I have lots to share, as I'm sure Dannielle does too.
Yes. So just a reminder, we're two midlife besties here to laugh, rant, and remind you that midlife is not a crisis. It's a plot twist. And we thank you so much for subscribing and listening to us, and hopefully you will become a part of our community.
Yes, we can't wait for our next episode. And one last thing, our email is hello@crazystupidmidlife.com. So if you ever want to reach out to us, that email again is hello@crazystupidmidlife.com. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you guys
Next time.